Following up from my previous episode, I've got a few more pieces of viewer mail to share with you. Then I'll show you the results of my research challenge presented to me by viewer Peter Dowd. So stick around. To start off this episode, I've got a postcard I received from Richard Philatelist. Richard, as many of you are aware, has a philatelic YouTube channel of his own called, interestingly enough, Richard Philatelist. Richard is also an avid runner, as you can see by this custom postmark he has. So, about a month ago, Richard was out on one of his routine training runs through London when he made a wrong turn at Charing Cross and wound up in Oslo, Norway. Since it was still a few hours before he had to be back home in London for dinner, he stopped and got me a postcard. The front pictures the Oslo neighborhood of
Aker Brygge,
while the backside is franked with a stamp honoring Norway's most famous sculptor, Gustav Vigeland. It's from a set of 2 stamps issued in 2019 for the artist. Vigeland has been commemorated twice previously, with a set in 1985 and before that in 1969. So thank you, Richard, for the card, because as it happens, Norway is a country for which I am attempting to collect all the 21st century postally used issues. Next, Brian from Michigan sent me this custom-made postcard consisting of a card plastered with 13 stamps of the CTO variety. For those of you unfamiliar with the term, CTO means canceled to order, and that's where a postal service or philatelic agency cancels the stamps in advance and then just sells them off wholesale to wholesale stamp dealers. And you can usually recognize them by these perfect quarter round circular date stamps. They'll always be nice, neat, cleanly inked. Now, most collectors hold CTO stamps beneath contempt. I do, although I do have plenty in my collections. But as Brian says in his message, I finally found a use for those pesky CTOs. So thanks, Brian. I'll remember to send you a fruitcake next Christmas. All seriousness aside, thanks for the card. Finally, I have an item I meant to show you in the last episode, but I could not find them. So I searched and searched and searched, and I finally found them, put away neatly in my US stockbook. Who knew I could be so organized? So these were sent to me by Brian Amos of the Stampman channel. They're called Stamper's Saver Cards. This was a creation of the USPS in the 1990s. They're a hybrid of postage stamps and trading cards, trying to capitalize on the popularity of baseball cards and gaming cards that were really starting to become popular at that time. Each card had a postage stamp in a mount affixed to the front. Brian sent me these extras he had of cards created for the Pacific 97 Expo stamps. If you'd like to learn more about these saver cards, Brian can explain them better in his own video on them, and I've left a link to that video in the description below. So thank you very much, Brian, for sending those. And now I have to apologize for not bringing you the last segment of this episode. My ancient computer is just running so slow today. It's taken forever to do the simplest task, and it keeps freezing up on me, and I have to reboot it. So I'll let it rest for the rest of the night, and I will finish this episode tomorrow and upload it in part B. So stay tuned, and thanks for being with me today.